The original Killer Instinct is my favorite arcade game of all time. You can figure that out fairly easily if you've ever seen my channel before. My channel name is a nod to the game, and the font is part of my channel's logo. I started the entire channel by making my own Killer Instinct out of an arcade 1-up, and now we're here. I've always sort of rejected Killer Instinct 2. I played it when it released in arcades, but never got hooked on it like I did when it came to Killer Instinct 1. I recently bought a Killer Instinct 2 cabinet with the plan to pull the original hardware and put a PC inside so I could have a MAME cabinet with a CRT. But those plans changed as I started fixing up the cabinet and playing it more. The idea of butchering a good working Midway arcade cabinet proved to be too difficult for me. So I decided to put the game in my arcade and found myself enjoying the game for the first time ever. I am enjoying the cabinet more than I ever expected to, but it's still not at the level of the original arcade game. Let's start with the cabinet design. The bright red and orange cabinet is appealing and eye-catching. The side art with Orchid looks pretty good, but I was always bumped by how different she looks from the original game. And by the way, all the female characters look different. They all kind of look like a variation of Janet Jackson, in my opinion. The control deck looks good too. Tusk is clearly excited about being featured on the front of the cabinet. Moving to the attract mode, I think it's one of the strongest attract modes of any arcade game. The full motion video clips are more prevalent, the music is loud and grabs your attention. The same Killer Instinct announcer, Chris Sutherland, is back with his booming voice screaming, KI2! I love a good arcade attract mode. Pressing start greets you with a great title screen. Killer Instinct. Not quite as exciting as the original Killer Instinct's explosion into the character select screen. The character select screen does have some interesting features. The characters' heads look up as you scroll through their thumbnail picture. The large character sprites are nice, but I will say I miss the awesome rotating 3D characters from the original KI. The music of the KI2 character select screen rivals the original arcade game. If I set aside my deep love for the original game, I think I can say KI2's offering is just better. In fact, all the music in KI2 is pretty much better overall. It sounds like every track has more depth and range than ever before. After selecting your character, the versus ladder comes down similar to KI1, but I will say I greatly miss the dedicated versus screens from the original KI. The FMVs playing a clip for each character was mind-blowing, where KI2 just feels a little lacking in that department. Now let's get to the meat of this video, the gameplay. I'm still torn on this. I understand the gameplay much better than I did as a 12-year-old, but it still doesn't feel as satisfying as KI1. The combos mid-game are shorter. Pulling off a killer combo is not nearly as easy as it was in the original game. The combo system feels simplified, and that seems to make playing as different characters an easier transition. I also find combo breakers a little easier to perform. Using the different combo enders for your character stacks up and improves the hits on the enders, which also gives you a longer ultra combo in the end. As the fight goes on, each player can build up a meter which can be used to do special moves that take large amounts of damage, or you can add them into combos, which will lengthen the combos to a more respectable level, in my opinion. However, there's one big issue. The game feels very clunky when trying to execute those combos. I'll try and set up a longer combo before going into the Ultra and find the combo is dropped because of what I assume to be difficult or precise timing required by the game. It was so bad I honestly thought the voltage on the power supply in my cabinet might be a little off. My ability to execute those combos just felt inconsistent, and it's highly frustrating. The first Killer Instinct had Mortal Kombat style finishing moves, meaning your character was dead, had no more life, they would stand there stunned for a few seconds, and you could pull off a fatality, or in Killer Instinct they called it a no mercy move. KI2 went a different route. They decided to make you either do an ultimate combo or actually finish off your opponent while they still have the blinking red life bar. Once their life bar is gone, they're dead and you can't do a finishing move. Another major disappointment to the gameplay is the lack of what I believe to be the best arcade announcer of all time, popping in to announce your combos. He only announces combo breakers, ultra combos, and ultimate combos now. I assume the lack of these audio clips is hardware related. The game essentially runs on the exact same hardware as the original Killer Instinct machine, except with a larger hard drive capacity. The audio hardware is probably being pushed to its max, and cuts had to be made. That said, the Awesome Victory or Supreme Victory scenes are improved with longer cut scenes after the battle. It also has post-match stats, which the original KI did not offer. The game's character ladder is similar to the original KI's layout, Spinal and Fulgore up top with some new characters inserted in the top spots. We are missing original characters from the first game. Riptor, Cinder, Thunder, and Idol are not in KI2, but we gain Maya, Kim Woo, Tusk, and Gargus to take those spots. Gargus is our new boss, which I think is an easier boss. He can regain his life like Idol did, but he's easier to attack. Plus, his combos don't completely decimate you like Idol's did. He does have one interesting feature. To finish him off, you must knock him into the air, which triggers a pretty awesome ending sequence. Killer Instinct has always been made to have loud volume and dynamic volume that raises during certain events. I feel like Gargus's death scene is very loud, almost ear-piercing, which is a bonus in my opinion. Who needs good hearing anyway? The endings are variable, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. It does add some depth to the game, but it also requires you to know exactly what characters need to be killed during gameplay to trigger those endings. Either way, you get a cutscene and then some still photos explaining the ending. You have to remember that full motion video in games back then was mind-blowing. I personally would rather have seen more cutscenes for each character rather than having still photos that change based on your decisions in the game, but that's just my opinion. The ending credits greet you with a loud medley of this game's awesome soundtrack. In typical KI fashion, TJ Combo's music kicks in extra loud for the first few seconds of it, and then goes back down to normal. That's more of that ear-catching brilliance from the developers. This video somehow turned into a review of the arcade game done almost 30 years later, but let's just keep going. This game isn't bad overall. It is different, which I do believe hurt it with the fans of the original game, but it's still an interesting game on its own. There are a few strange things about it, though. I would say this game's a little glitchy, dog. I found a few odd issues, and I'm sure this isn't all of the glitches that are in this game. One that stood out was Saberwolf's ultimate combo. The bats release from his chest but miss the opponent frequently, causing the game to get stuck for a bit, and then it just makes the battle end and you move on. One big thing I dislike is where you enter your initials. The game makes you wait until you die, or if you don't die and you beat the game, you have to wait until all the credits roll and then enter your initials after that, assuming you actually hung around for all of the credits. Assuming you did hang around, you enter your initials and press end after doing so, the game is going to get stuck on this black screen that says game over. With TJ Combo's music just looping repeatedly until someone actually presses a button on the cabinet which starts the attract mode again. There are some combo exploits, I won't pretend to know all of them. One in particular is actually kinda cool. Glacius XL explained it in his TJ Combo tutorial. You can essentially perform multiple ultra combos. Here's the clip.
And you can actually do another ultra. And if you don't mess up, you can keep it going over and over and over and over again. So. Yeah, I messed it up, but you see, you can just keep it going.
Beyond that, there's random small issues in the game, like audio problems such as the announcer's voice not saying characters' names on the character select screen. He also fails to say fight on sometimes, or it gets kind of slightly cut off when the game is loading. Overall, I appreciate this game more than I did before. I know I didn't cover everything about the game in this video, so feel free to throw in more info in the comments. I'm happy I kept the machine in its original state. It's almost like I've been able to experience the game for the first time again with fresh eyes. It's not better than the original arcade in my opinion, but I can see how some truly love this game. Alright, as I said earlier, this video was not intended to be like a review, and it just kind of turned into a review of KI2 that nobody really asked for, but I thought it was... I just kind of got on a roll typing it all out, and then I was like, well, now I gotta make the video. And I almost bailed out, and I'm glad I didn't, even though it was like a 10+ hour video creation process. So I really hope you guys at least enjoyed the video. I'm still happy I kept it, still find myself wanting to play it more, which is crazy, because I never would have said that a year ago, but now I'm kind of getting into KI2, which sucks because it's throwing off my skills on KI1 a little bit. If I had to rate the game 0 out of 10, I'd give it a 7.8 out of 10. I think that's pretty fair. It's not as good looking as the original KI in my opinion. It's not as fun, but it's actually different enough while still being the same to make me want to keep coming back to it. So if you blew off KI2 like I did, maybe go back and give it another shot now. You might change your mind. Go in with an open mind. Nothing's ever going to be as good as this. Sorry, I've got lights flashing in here. But it's still a good game, so give it another shot. Well, if you enjoyed this kind of accidental review of KI2, please give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe if you're new to the channel and you want more arcade content. I've got cool games in here. I do live streams. And also leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of the review. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Did I leave something out? Leave it in the comments. We can talk there. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.